y'all, welcome back to my channel. I'm Danielle and I'm the owner of Damn Fancy Creations and the Drunk Flamingo Glitter. Today I am going to be creating a tumbler with items from September's Flock Box. I love how this box came together. It was a perfect amount of spooky, but not being overly Halloween. The colors you could definitely use for other tumblers. I love the vintage florals that we have, and the decal was super fun. I especially love the rosy gold foil kind of bleach spot effect that I made for the decal. I wanted something to make that decal kind of stand out a little bit, and I think that that gold outline was the perfect touch. Everything you see listed here will be covered in today's tutorial, but if you guys have questions, you know you are free to ask and I will answer them for you. Don't forget to check out the description where I list all items you will need to recreate this tumbler, as well as discount codes from my favorite suppliers. Make sure you subscribe and hit the notification bell so you are one of the first to know when new tutorials drop. And now let's get started on this tutorial. I hope you guys enjoy. All right, y'all, so here is September's Flock Box. This is our fun decal. I love this little spooky unicorn. Here are our 4 colors and our vinyl. I always try to pull colors from the vinyl to mix and match glitter, just so everything goes together really nicely. I look at all the different colors and try to pull from them. So this fun kind of mauvey pink that is mixed with a little blue goes perfect with that mauvey pink flower that is in this vinyl pattern. We have kind of a lilac and black mix, which goes with the other flowers. We have a fun, chunky holographic mix, obviously, for the black flowers. And then this fun, mini chunky holographic green and black mix pulls from the greenery that is also in this vinyl pattern. And if you guys watch my Flock Box tutorials, I typically only use 1 pattern per tumbler, but for this one, I wanted to use 2 or both of the patterns. I designed this one kind of with a stripe pattern in mind, I guess, so you can cut it and still get the full scene. So I cut this, I trimmed it, I just wanted to use one of the little scenes, and then I'm going to use the floral as our angled stripes. And there is our daily train. I think this is like the 5th time it has passed today already. And I am trimming these in about 1.5 inches. I believe that's what I did. And I started with 2, but I did need to go back and cut another one. I wasn't quite sure how long I was going to need these. So first we're going to get our little scene on. I'm using my Cup Cradle by Cami Page Boutique. If you guys want to try out her stuff, we do have a discount code below. I only use her Tumbler Tools. They are the best. So I'm just going to trim the backing, apply this on the straight line that we drew, act as a hinge. I like this method because you can reposition this as often as you need to make sure that your vinyl is straight on there. Sometimes it takes me a little longer than sometimes, and then sometimes I realize that maybe my vinyl isn't as straight. But once you have it on straight, we're just going to smooth down that vinyl with our squeegee as we are removing the backing. I'm just going to trim this, and I'm kind of trimming it, gauging what element I'm going to cut to blend this seam. So I'm kind of cutting this out at an angle. You can see that I did not cut the bat in half, and this little element I am just cutting out. This is just the little zombie hand that's popping up. So I just trimmed around it and covered that seam. I am also going to cut out this little cat ghost. We also have a decal that matches this cat ghost. One of my followers requested it, so I made a little decal to go with the cat. It says paranormal captivity, so it's pretty cute. But I'm just cutting this little bitty cat ghost out, and we're just gonna apply him right over that seam just to help kind of disguise him, or disguise the seam, not the cat. So that way our seam is pretty disguised. Somebody just looking at the cup is not going to know where our seam is. So now we're going to start applying our little angled strips of vinyl. And if you guys watch my videos as normal, I don't ever measure anything, at least not with like a ruler and dividing things. I just use my vinyl to kind of space things out. Like here, you can see I'm just kind of placing that there as a placeholder. And then I also realized that I am going to need to cut another sheet or another little strip of vinyl, because these two that I cut are not going to reach to the bottom. And if you can hear that ruckus in the background, that's just the puppies. Cash would play all day outside if I let him. And there's another train, y'all. Monday, I'm filming this video or voicing this video on a Monday. So Monday must be pretty busy days for the train station. So once I applied my third strip of vinyl, I am just kind of eyeing this and making sure everything is straight. I'm trimming these little edges off. I'm just using my blade to do this. And then I'm going to get my edging tool, also by Cami Page Boutique. This is probably my favorite tool of hers. I use it to edge vinyl. I also use this after epoxy, so we get a nice clean rim if we just glitter a cup. So now that we have our vinyl on, we're going to start applying our glitter. I typically use Artistry's glitter glue. I was a clear spray paint user for years. All of my glitter, I would use clear spray paint. That's what I used. I hated Mod Podge. I didn't mind epoxy, but it was just a lot of work. And then I tried Artistry's glitter glue and loved it. It's very similar to an epoxy application. The glitter glue kind of evens out, so you don't get some parts that are heavier. So you guys can see that I taped a little further up from the bottom seam that we applied, and then I am just dragging the glitter glue down the tumbler. I am going to cascade my glitter down to kind of create a gradient. So at first I am just covering that blank space where the top vinyl is and the stainless cup. And then I am angling my cup, and I am just barely tapping this glitter just to get that gradient effect. I also poured this glitter into my tea strainer, and I'm using that tea strainer to shake out the fine glitter pieces to fill in any holes left by the chunky glitter. And I'm just getting my little tweezers and moving some of the chunky glitter if I don't want it covering like the eye of the cat. Clearly I'm not picky at all on my glitter placement. So once we get that glitter on, we're going to remove our painter's tape. We don't want this glue drying with the paint still on there. And again, if I see any just holes, I'm just gonna fill it in with that fine glitter or just move the chunky hex over with my tweezers. But that's just me being picky. So we're going to put this glitter away and get out our next color. All of these are available on the drunkflamingo.com for individual purchase if I have any left. Sometimes I have colors left over from flock boxes. Sometimes I don't have a whole lot. So again, we are just using glitter glue to apply this glitter. And I had enough to go ahead and do all of the sections. I added too much to that one section, so I just went ahead and applied the glitter glue to all of my stainless sections, and we're just sprinkling on the glitter. Now, I did not base coat this tumbler because the glitter that I'm using is all opaque. None of this glitter is translucent, so the base color doesn't really matter as long as you have good coverage. If I were using translucent glitter, then I would base coat these sections first, just so you would not see the stainless through. But again, since this is all opaque, we don't need to worry about that. And when I get to the top edge, I am just kind of making a straight line in line with the vinyl strips that are beside this section. So we still get a nice straight line across the top. I do go back and pinstripe this, but I do try to just keep it as straight as I can, or as even as I can. And with any chunky glitter, I just kind of pat it down with my finger, just to make sure that all those chunky pieces are laying flat and not sticking up. It does make it easier to epoxy if everything is laying down flat. So I'm just brushing all of this glitter off right now, just so you guys can see how it looks at this step. I will take this outside after the glitter glue has dried, and I will spray seal everything really good. And then I am going to add 2 coats of epoxy to the entire tumbler. And after that epoxy has cured, I'm going to sand it really well because I don't want any bumps when I'm trying to apply pinstripes or decals. So this is the tumbler after 2 coats of epoxy and sanded. So we are going to pinstripe. I just chose a classic black and gold. I just thought that that went really well with the vinyl that we had on the tumbler. And if you guys did not know, I do have a pinstripe file on the drunkflamingo.com. It is a full sheet of my most popular sizes, which is 0.07, 0.05, and 0.03. When I cut out pinstripes, I typically cut full sheets of the same color. That way I have multiple colors and multiple sizes to choose from, so I can layer them if I want to. What I'm applying now, I did already layer on the vinyl backing itself. Sometimes that's easier for me, so I just layered a gold pinstripe on top of a black one. And then I'm just trimming them right where the glitter and vinyl meet the black glitter that is cascading down. These are just all the little pieces that I saved. You never know when you might need just a little section of pinstripe. So for this pinstripe, I am wrapping a thicker pinstripe. And I reversed them. As you can see, the top pinstripes are black with gold on top, and the one in the middle, and I think on the top as well, are going to be gold with black on top. So right now I'm just trimming these little pieces that are sticking up, and then I'm going to wrap that top section with a pinstripe as well. So here I am just layering that pinstripe on the gold paper or the gold backing. Y'all, that is another train. This is crazy. So I am just lining this up, wrapping that pinstripe around. So now we're going to decal. And I always like to try, like if I am applying a decal on a patterned background or something, I like to try to do something to kind of break it up. So for this one, what I did was cut the unicorn out with just a little bit of a white edge. And I am going to trace this on my tumbler. So I kind of decided where I wanted to put him or her. And I am just going to take a Sharpie and I'm going to trace the outline of this unicorn. Me tapping the tumbler, trying to decide what I'm going to do. And my little baby Sharpie was not working, so I had to use my thicker one. I tried to paint pen next. That did not work, so I had to find my thicker Sharpie. So now we are going to trace our unicorn. And we just need the outline. This is not something that has to be perfect. So now we have like a rough little outline of where our unicorn is going to go. So now I'm going to get my adhesive from Artistic Painting Studio. This is kind of like Tack It, and I have used Tack-It in the past. I've used different foil adhesives, and this is honestly the best one that I've tried. And since I kind of want a burst distressed effect, I am just using a stipple brush, just so we are going to get kind of textured rough edges. I don't want it to look like a perfectly straight drawn out gold foil outline, if that makes sense. I would rather it kind of be distressed. And I'm not filling in this whole thing with the adhesive because we don't need that much foil. We really just need this foil right along the outlines, just so it outlines our unicorn. So I'm just kind of bringing that adhesive out a little bit, just kind of stippling it along the edges. And you really don't need a whole lot, especially since we're doing a distressed feel. If I wanted full coverage on a foil on a tumbler, like if I was doing an entire tumbler with foil, I would let this adhesive dry and then I would do a second coat just to make sure that I didn't miss any spots and that we would get great coverage. So I'm drying this with a heat gun. I am not using heat though. This is turned all the way down. My heat gun has a dial on it, so I turn it all the way on low. So it's basically just like a warm hair dryer. And you want this adhesive to dry and be clear. If it is white, it is not dry yet, and your foil is not going to adhere to the tumbler the way that you want it. So you want to make sure that this adhesive is all the way dry. There were a couple spots that I did that were a little thicker than I should have done. So now it's all dry. We can see it's just clear. There's no white. And I'm just going to start pressing this foil right onto the adhesive. And I love this foil because it already has kind of like a distressed feel. So I thought that it was perfect for this tumbler. So you guys can already see here when the light hits that foil, it already has so much texture to it, and I loved it so much. And if you guys have not worked with foil or this adhesive that I am using, the adhesive stays tacky. So even when it is dry, it is still tacky. That is how the foil attaches to it. So now that I have all of my edges kind of covered, I am just kind of feeling around to see what spots are still tacky. And then just kind of pressing that foil lightly onto the tacky spots. So we kind of bring out that foil a little bit. So now I am just kind of lining up my unicorn, seeing where I'm going to apply her. Just kind of lining her up with that outline. And if I feel like I needed to add some more foil, you can just add some more real quick. So I was just kind of lining her up. It did take me a couple tries to get her like lined up how I wanted her to. Her horn kept, I don't know, I was just applying her funny, I think. And her horn kept not lining up with where I wanted her to go. I think this is the one, guys. I think this is the one. All right, so now that we have her all smoothed down, if you guys seal your pinstripes, you can do that. I like to seal mine with UV resin. I also sealed the foil with Quick Seal from Artistry, and then I applied 2 more final coats of epoxy, and this is the end result. I am really happy with how this turned out. I love that the foil burst kind of kept its texture even after epoxy. I just think this cup was so fun to create. If y'all purchased September's Flock Box and you made a cup, please post in the Drunk Flamingo because I love to see what you guys come up with, and I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. If you enjoyed this tutorial or learned something new, please be sure to like, subscribe, and share. Don't forget to catch the next video coming up that was picked just for you. As always, if you're looking for more tips, tricks, or tutorials, be sure to check out my tutorial group, my Damn Fancy Tribe, or the Drunk Flamingo Glitter group. All are linked in the description. Thanks for watching!